We will seventh lecture in this chapter. In the previous lecture, we have seen the different types of the lipid oxidation methods. In that, we will have discussed already the peroxide values, other things that is bibarbituric acid. Now, in this lecture, we will discuss about the next that is a conjugated dienes and trines. This is one of the method for the lipid oxidation, and another one is lipid oxidation for the evaluating oxidative stability by three different methods. That is, first one is the oxygen storage method, second one is the oil stability index and active oxygen method, and third one is the oxygen bomb. Now go to the first, that is a conjugated dienes and trines. First of all, we are aware about the conjugated dienes and trines. Means what? Whenever there are alternate double bond and single bond is there, we can call it as a conjugated systems. When the conjugated system consisting of three different types of conjugated double bonds, it is called as a trines, and if there are two, it is called as a dienes. So the generally the double bonds in the lipids are changed from non-conjugated to conjugated bonds whenever there is a oxidation is happen in the sample. So generally the fatty acids which are conjugated dienes, hydroperoxide will forms whenever the lipid is oxidized, and whenever lipid oxidize, it absorbs UV light at 332 nanometer, and if you consider the conjugated trines, they are absorbed at 270 nanometer. So these conjugated products of lipid oxidation should not be confused with CLA isomer, which are produced by the incomplete hydrogenation in the ruminants. Now go to the procedure. So first of all, we take a homogeneous sample which should be weighed and taken into the graduated flask and brought to a volume with a suitable solvent. For example, here we have used isooctane, cyclohexane, this kind of a non-polar solvent which have been taken. This is because these lipids, they are highly non-polar in nature. That's why they are generally soluble in this kind of non-polar solvents. After that, a 1% solution is made and then diluted or concentrated, whatever needed. For dilution, we have add a solvent, or if we have to concentrate, then we have to heat in order to get a proper amount of the sample, so that we can get a proper amount of absorbance. That is, as we know that the absorbance should be in between 0.1 to 0.8. So absorbance is not greater than 1. So the diluted solutions must be completely clear so that we can get a proper absorbance. So absorbance is measured with the ultraviolet spectrophotometer using the pure solvent as a blank. So as we have known that we should use a blank, which is solvent is used as a blank. And as we have already discussed that ultimately at that particular respective wavelength, that is for the dyes, it is up to 232 nanometer. If there is any kind of absorbance, we can call it as a conjugated dyes, and for the conjugated dyes, if any kind of absorbance is observed at 270 nanometer, then we can say that the given system or the given sample containing some amount of conjugated dyes or dyes, whatever. Now, what are the applications? So, the conjugated dienes and trines are the methods which are useful for monitoring the early stages of oxidation. So, during the various stages of the production of various food products, for example, oil. So, in that, by using these conjugated dienes, this method is useful for monitoring that early stages of oxidation. In various stages, if there is any kind of oxidation is there, so that can be determined by using this method. So the magnitude of changes in the absorption is not easily related to the extent of oxidation in advanced stages. So this magnitude doesn't affect the extent of the oxidation. So the generally the olive oil grades are based on the ultraviolet absorbance. So if you consider the analysis of olive oil, so in that case the absorbance corresponds to the olive oil sample will be useful for the grading of the olive oil products. Now the next one is the lipid oxidation for the evaluating oxidative stability. So because of their inherent properties, that is the amount of unsaturation and the presence of natural antioxidants. So that is the inherent properties of the lipids, as well as some external factors. Lipids and lipid containing foodstuffs vary in their susceptibility to the rancidity. So they are very susceptible to the rancidity. So the resistance of lipids to oxidation is known as the oxidative stability. So how that particular lipid is stable towards the stability, we can call it stable towards the acidity, we can call it as a oxidative stability. So in as much as determine oxidative stability using actual shelf life determinations at ambient conditions of storage requirements months or even years. So there is some kind of shelf life for the every kind of samples. So that should be the important factor while determining the oxidative stability. So the accelerated test artificially hasten lipid oxidation by exposing sample to heat, oxygen, metal catalyst, light or enzymes. So an additional difficulty is ensuring that the apparatus is clean and completely free of metal contaminants and oxidation products from the previous runs. Therefore, assuming lipid oxidation is the factor that limits shelf life determinations at ambient conditions. So the induction period. So every substance, every sample, every food product has some kind of induction period, which is defined as the length of time before detectable rancidity or time before the rapid acceleration of lipid oxidation. So that is the induction period. So the length of time before detectable density or the time before the rapid acceleration of the lipid oxidation. So the measurement of induction period allows the comparison of oxidative stability of sample that contains differing ingredients or of a sample held at a varying storage conditions. So accordingly, we have to take the various kinds of storage conditions. So it provides an indication of effectiveness of various antioxidants in preventing lipid oxidation. So for that purpose, we have add different kinds of antioxidants so that the oxidation of our lipid sample should be prevented. So it provides some kind of pathways for the using these antioxidants. Now the most important, that is oven storage test. So for the lipid oxidation we are performing the oven storage test. So as a means of accelerating determination of oxidative stability, the oven storage test is oftenly used. So previously this test was an ill-defined procedure known as a shell oven test. So it is now recommended practice of AOCS. So this protocol consists of placing a fat or oil of known volume in a forced draft oven at a temperature above ambient temperature, but it is usually less than 80 degrees Celsius. So with 60 degrees Celsius is generally recommended. So such temperature are desirable accelerated storage temperature, since the mechanism of oxidation in this range is the same as the oxidation at room temperature. The test should be conducted in a dark. The initial quality of the sample oil should be high, and as the surface to the volume ratio of oil must be kept constant for all types of the sample, so that we can get a proper determination. So in order to determine the induction period and thus obviously the oxidative stability, the oven storage test must be combined with the other methods of detecting density such as the sensory evaluation and peroxide value. More than one method should be used to determine the extent of oxidation. So it is recommended that one method measures the primary products of the lipid oxidation. That's why we should use the supportive method for the evaluating the oxidative stability. So the results of oxidative stability determinations obtained at approximately 60 degrees Celsius correlate well with the actual shelf life determinations. So that is the temperature parameter which should be applied during that oxidative stability study. Now the next one is next method, that is the oil stability index and active oxygen method. So principle, so the oil stability index OSI determines the induction period by bubbling purified air through an oil or a fat sample, which is held at an elevated temperature, which is generally about 110 degree or 130 degree, then passing the acidic volatiles into the deionized water trap. So the result should be specify the temperature used as well as the induction period time. The more familiar but outdated and labor intensive active oxygen method, that is AOM, is similar to the OSI, that is oil stability index, except that induction period is determined by discontinuous measurements of either peroxide value or sensory evaluation of rancid odor. Now what are the applications? So these methods are designed originally to measure the effectiveness of the antioxidants. How antioxidants are effective for the stability of various kinds of oils. So the oil stability index is determined much faster than the test performed at oven storage test temperature, but results from the latter may correlate better with the actual shelf life. So the oven storage test is more reliable than a particular oil stability index or AOM. So extrapolating OSI results to actual shelf life is difficult because the high temperature used results in the formation of compounds not present in the sample held at ambient or slightly elevated temperature conditions. So the specification sheets for the fats and oil often report AOM values to accommodate individual working in this area who are familiar with AOM values. Now the next one is the oxygen bomb. So in as much as lipid oxidation results in the uptake of oxygen from the surrounding environment, measuring the time required for the onset of rapid disappearance of oxygen in a closed system provides the mean of determine the oxidative stability. So the oxygen bomb. So we have to determine here the time required for the rapid disappearance of the oxygen. So by using this method we have to find out the stability of that particular oil. So procedure, so in that first of all the oxygen bomb which have been used, which consists of heavy walled container which having the pressure recorder which is attached. So the sample is placed into the container and oxygen is used to pressurize the container to 100 psi, that is a pound square inch. So the container then is placed in a boiling water bath. The induction period is determined by measuring the time until the sharp drop in the pressure occurs, so which corresponds with the rapid absorption of the oxygen by the particular sample. So in this way we have to find out the oxygen from the given sample by using the oxygen bomb. So what are the applications? So the oxygen bomb results may have a better correlation with the rancidity shelf life test than the AOM values. So another advantage of this method is that whenever we have compared this method with OSI or AOM, it is that the oxygen bomb method may be used with intact foodstuffs instead of extracted lipids. Okay, so this is all about the oxygen bomb. and this lecture. In the next lecture, we have seen the various methods for determine the lipid components. Okay, thank you.